Brodes Media.
It feels like the last time the Eagles played a football game, it was 1652. Finally, I could wake up, have this nice cup of coffee, and I can see the nice heat coming up off the mug. I could wake up with the cup of joe and go, tomorrow, home playoff game, Lincoln Financial Field. A.J. Brown has the chills just thinking about it. Jalen Hurts, is going to dominate. This is beautiful, and I can't wait. 8:15 kickoff. I need it in my blood. The question becomes, when you think of this matchup, hold on a second. I can't just mention the coffee without taking a sip, so just bear with me. Oh, man, we're going to do that again. Yes, we are. Throughout the show, of course. Anyway, I think one big spot to look at with this game is how are the Giants going to attack the Eagles' offense? So with their defense, what are they going to do? Now, in theory, blitz, bring pressure. We know that's something that's part of their DNA. With that said, they didn't finish the regular season off with an obnoxious amount of success. And what you saw them do against Minnesota was a bit different. So, do they try and get a little bit different? Like, if you're not winning a lot of games, which they weren't down the stretch, that's why I laugh when I hear that the Giants are a hot team. You're seeing the Giants at the wrong time. No, they won a playoff game. That's what happens when you have a bye week and you're waiting for your opponent. You're going to play a team that won a football game. It was a nice road playoff game for the Giants, but to say they are some burning hot team, you know who's a hot team? The San Francisco 49ers, who just rolled week after week. That is what a hot team is. I digress. They weren't destroying opponents with this heavy concept of what they were doing defensively. So they mixed things up a bit. If they were to blitz Jalen Hurts, I feel comfortable with that because he makes great decisions with the football. He doesn't really turn the ball over a bunch. That's something that's been a strength with this team when they were doing their thing. Making sure your squad keeps the football in their possession. But this is where things get interesting because Dexter Lawrence showed up and he balled out. Is he going to be able to have the same level of success against this offensive line? And if he doesn't, is that when the Giants have to rely on some sort of manufacturing that pressure, which then opens up the door again for the Eagles to take advantage of that, which, once again, I like that matchup with Jalen Hurts having the football in his hands. And if I have to answer that question right now, knowing the dominance of what this offensive line is, I believe that while Dexter Lawrence is a good player and he might have a moment or so, at the end of the game, we'll go, yep, the Eagles won that one. Now, let's speak edge rushers. Lane Johnson coming back from the injury. 2 weeks ago, I thought it was automatic that Lane Johnson would try, and then at some point, Jack Driscoll would have to take the spot. I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. He claimed that playing with the ankle that he played with in previous years was significantly more painful to play than what he's dealing with right now. So we'll see. I have more confidence that he'll be able to stand upright. The bar for Lane Johnson is you're not allowed past him at all, and you won't record a sack whatsoever. If this happens to be 75-80% Lane Johnson, which means maybe one sack happens, well, you live with that. I'm fascinated to see what he looks like, and I'm sure after a series or two, I'll be like, okay, I'm comfortable again, because Lane Johnson just seems to be the opposite of human being. His body functions at a completely different pace than every other normal human in the history of planet Earth. Ultimately, knowing what the Giants did against Minnesota, I'd have to imagine that they try and duplicate some version of that and they don't just send the house and go extra aggressive. But if they do, because they want to try and get to the quarterback and maybe hit him a couple times and make his shoulder feel a little bit of some soreness and some pain because everyone's aware that that's a part of the Jalen Hurts story right now, Eagles are going to win. Eagles will take advantage. After last year, you have that playoff game, which, look, it's nice that Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni got some of that experience on the road, not just in-game experience, because it clearly got ugly against Tampa Bay last year in the postseason. But I thought one big area that Nick Sirianni can learn from as a first-year head coach last season was, what is the week like leading up to that game? The focus, the details. And you do that every week, but obviously everything intensifies when the playoffs are on the line. So the nerves, the adrenaline, the just waking up every day, going to the NovaCare complex, and then you go out there and you get your ass kicked. From a coaching level, the fact that you get a bit of, not redemption because you're playing the same team in the same spot, but just in regards to him. Last year, first year, postseason, got beat up a little bit. Fine. Didn't have the talent. We know that. First year quarterback. A lot of learning curves. We knew that. But now, touchdown favorite, at home, number 1 seed. You're supposed to win. Go do it. Go do what Tampa Bay did to you last year. Make Daniel Jones look like the Daniel Jones previous to what happened in Minnesota. Make Saquon Barkley look like the Saquon Barkley in previous seasons where, he wasn't having this type of year. It's on you to do what Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians did to you last season. And I think he's aware of that.